you know, what you identify as or who you like or whatever. Surely the most important thing is what trophies are we going to win next, not, you know, who likes who.
Hi, I'm Daniel Rogers. I'm part of the Canal Street Blues and I've been a City fan for all my life.
Hi, my name's Lee Broadstock. I'm a member of Canal Street Blues and I've been a season ticket holder at Man City since the 98-99 season.
Hi, I'm Anita Clark. I'm the Equality and Diversity Officer for Canal Street Blues and I got my first season ticket for Manchester City in 1980.
Hello, I'm Sophie Glustian, comedian and an actor, and I have been a City fan since birth.
February, and it was against Leeds United.
October 2005, and we beat West Ham 2-1.
The QPR game where Jamie Pollock scored that infamous own goal.
Mine's probably Gillingham, the first one with my dad, but that was like the moment where actually it's not always getting beat, we can do something, but that's probably the one I remember.
I was just more fascinated with Helen and a bell, to be honest, more than anything. I knew that once I'd been to the ground that would be something that I would be doing regularly.
I was absolutely freezing and I was literally sat up in the gods, but I just automatically fell in love with it.
That was it just stuck with me since then. You know, there was a little bit of underdog spirit within the club and it was a real community club and I just fell in love with it from that moment. Somewhere you could just go and enjoy football and I always had a bit of that underdog spirit within me. City were the club for me.
My whole family are raging City fans, lunatic City fans, so I was never ever going to be anything else.
To be honest, it was my mum, because I was always playing football from a very early age. She started telling me tales about Bert Trautmann breaking his neck in the cup final and things like that. So unfortunately all my memories are goalkeeper related, yeah.
I'm not from Manchester originally, I'm from Somerset originally and I came up to Manchester in 97 and I went out clubbing in the village and I met one of my best friends now, Nikki, who was a season ticket holder. She convinced me to go to games and that was it, I was hooked and yeah, we've been to so many games throughout the years together and yeah, she's really got me into it.
I'm in love with Erling Haaland. I love Haaland so much. Grealish, Aguero, Company, Foden, Walker, literally the whole team.
Did you have any on-pitch idols from the time when you were watching City? Because obviously Bert Trautmann was 40, 50
before
years
my
before
time,
your
yeah.
time, yeah.
The first one, as I said, I can remember Helen with the bell, and for me my first idol was Big Joe, because I can remember he always made a point of going over to Helen and saying hello and to the fans there, and that was something I'd never seen, that interaction with the players and fans. So for me, always been Big Joe.
I was always always loved defenders and stuff and wanted to play in defence, and so mine was Danny Tiato. I used to have him on the back of every single shirt, and then there was two that came along. It was Ali Benabia and Berkovic, and I just absolutely fell in love with them both.
There's many throughout the years, and obviously you can go to the current stock of De Bruyne's and Haaland, etc. But for me, the standout players are the players from back when I first started watching. The players who are really committed to the shirt, yeah, Andy Morrison's, Danny Tiato's, Pablo Zabaletta's, you know, those players you just know are going to bleed for the shirt. They are always my favourites, those combative.
Are there any iconic moments as well that stand out, not just in terms of your early time following the club, even more recently? What moments have really stood out for you as a fan?
Balotelli, Aguero! Which was loads of people's ringtones near where I live. Yeah, that's definitely my top memory for sure.
For me, Nicky Weaver in the 99 sort of second division playoff. Because again, goalkeeper, and I'll never forget the cupping of his ear and the absolute bedlam after he scored.
This year with the treble, you've got the Gundogan moment, but for me, the first time of everything is probably one of the best, isn't it? And that first title the Aguero moment, and for me, I had to work it. I was at the back of the seg line, and as soon as Aguero scored, I ran right down to the bottom. I was jumping up and down. I think if you see a clip somewhere that City have got somewhere, you do see a police officer just jumping up and down, and that's me. And then I had to realise where I was and sort of try to calm myself down a bit, but yeah, that was a great moment.
When we won United, first time I've ever seen us beat United, and Gota stole it off Gary Neville.
Although Gota's got the ball here. Gota's running back and he scored! That's amazing! Huge mistake by Gary Neville!
So I was the only City fan in my school, like pretty much in the class. And every time you go in, it'd be always taking a mick out of you and stuff. But this time it was like our chance to go in. I couldn't wait to go to school just to go in and rub it in their face. But yeah, that was probably one of the best moments I've had.
Istanbul this year was just, to me, the icing on the cake. That made it, the whole journey, worthwhile. No, it certainly does age you. Yeah, it certainly does age you.
How have you found being a fan of football and also being part of the LGBTQ plus community? Do you feel, hopefully, that it's progressed since those early years, and what's it been like for you? With
the invent of Canal Street Blues and actually meeting other groups from other supporters clubs, it sort of made you think that, yeah, you can be part of that community and be a football fan. And as I've always said to people that question, you know, why LGBTQ and all this, at the end of the day, I'm there because I'm a football fan. But I also need, for my personal safety, to feel comfortable, and that's what I get from the LGBTQ groups. That you don't have to be part of the community to join the supporters group. We have many allies, you know, they might have family members that are gay, friends that are gay, and there's no judgment, there's no preconceived ideas of what we like. We go, we have a social side, and we go to the matches and have a brilliant time. So it's been immense for me personally, yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you've got, what you've not got. You all have something in common that you share. This is obviously Manchester City, that's our team, and it shouldn't matter, you know, what you identify as or who you like or whatever. Surely the most important thing is what trophies are we going to win next, not, you know, who likes who.
Certainly, if you used to go down to the village or used to openly say that you were a football fan, you were sort of ostracised. Like, well, you can't be a football fan and be gay or LGBT. You never quite fit. So you never quite fit if you were LGBT in the heteronormative world, but you didn't quite fit being LGBT and you know, being a football fan. So always that outside element to it. And it was only really when I joined the Canal Street Blues and met loads of really like-minded people that you do feel that actually, yeah, you can be yourself whatever situation you're in. The true self of myself is I'm gay and I'm a massive Manchester City fan, and to be with people who accept both of those things, and you can just have a great time with, you can talk about the game beforehand, what's the score going to be afterwards. City has been one of those clubs that have stood up for any form of discrimination, and to hear it now, no to homophobia, no to racism, no to anti-Semitism, hearing those messages is so warming.
Because as time's gone on, that's by the by now, that doesn't happen anymore. You get the odd little pocket, but I have noticed that if something's said, then straight away the other supporters will jump in and shut them down, so it does make you feel welcoming, yes.
So it's fantastic that people as a society are moving on, but City have really embraced that zero tolerance approach, and it's great to see.
Now to have obviously City and Canal Street Blues to obviously have you back as well and to feel comfortable when you're doing that, it's watching football and be a part of this community, then it's, yeah, brilliant.
And just finally, take you back to that game against QPR in 1998. What advice would you give to Lee standing on the terraces that day about being a City fan to where we are now as champions of Europe?
Wow, I mean, I suppose all I could really say is you're not going to be an underdog forever, and to look back and say, you know, when you were just hoping that we might sneak one League Cup win somewhere along the lines, you know what, you're going to win a lot, and you're going to win a lot in Istanbul, and it's going to be amazing.
Forget about Halifax 1-0 away. Don't worry about that, that's not an issue. And the good times will come again. The good times will come, and hey, have they come?
Buckle up, because it's going to be a tough ride. Yeah, I would say it gets better. Yeah, I would say buckle up, because it's going to be a ride.